So today's reading, I decided to read the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybill case, obviously with JJ and Tylee. They found the remains. So at the point that I'm coming in doing this reading, we know that they've been found. But a lot of people kind of want to know what's going to happen next now that the remains have been found. Because these guys, one of the things when I was tuning into this, and I'm listening, Spirit is like saying they hid in plain sight. A lot of these things they did were, so blunt. And I do believe that they really believe their own shtick, that that they're part of some doomsday type of deal. They believe that the end or the doomsday, all that's going to kick off next month, actually, in July, is kind of what they're believing. And she believes she's a god and going to usher in the 144,000 and all this. And I can only imagine with that mentality that with having a pandemic and protests and all the chaos going on in the world, that's only feeding her mental illness. Okay. And I do kind of get that because I've got the Nine of Swords, you can see she's got sleepless nights, but this can be depression, and mental illness is another thing that this card can represent. So she's got a very troubled mind, you could say, a very troubled mind. And especially with him writing these doomsday books and then her kind of latching on and them kind of feeding each other in this whole thing became a psychosis of a couple, and they are represented the Two of Cups. I hate to say it, they are soulmates. They really are soulmates, but obviously very negative. The card to represent Lori is the Empress reverse. This is the Mother of Tarot. She has taken on a negative kind of mother role here with the Empress in a reverse position. Kind of like now everybody, when I say this, please don't have a bunch of people message me. Lilith is a symbol of empowerment. Yes, Lilith is the goddess is a symbol of empowerment, but she also has that kind of negative side that, in Jewish myth, she would also take babies, and things like that. So there's a very Lilith kind of energy with her, you could say. And kind of my feel on this when I kind of tune into it is I feel like her and Chad, Lori and Chad, upon taking the children's lives, one, they felt that they were kind of a burden to carry around. Notice the Ten of Wands in a reverse position. When it's upright, he looks heavily burdened. And this is in her position. I'm focusing on her quite a bit. Looks heavily burdened, taking on a load. But then when it's in a reverse position, is about lightening the load. So this really makes me feel she, and maybe him too, also felt that they were a burden. They've got to go on and deal with this doomsday stuff in July. And they've got kids, and how are they going to manage all this? And then they've got a cult hidden somewhere, while they're dealing with all this stuff. And so I feel like, but I have this weird mental thing because she's also, she has her own psychosis that she kind of felt in her own way. She's just sending them to the other side. She's just sending them to heaven anyway. So, they're a burden in the physical, but I can send them to heaven so they'll be okay there. And so I get that kind of feel that she had kind of this weird mentality about this with the kids to kind of justify the actions, what these two did. In looking at it, she has been very defensive the whole time, as well as he. Anytime people question them, they just don't answer. When people, where are your kids? Where this, that, the guard is up. You see the guard is up. They just don't answer. They don't give anything. The only thing they had said before, they were in somewhere in Arizona. But the defense is up. They give no information pretty much. It's just straight up, So as far as are people ever going to really get the whole picture why they are the way they are? Probably not, because this is a very secretive couple. And I don't feel they're going to turn on each other either. If anybody's kind of wondering, will they try to turn them against each other? I believe they'll try to do that. I believe they'll question one, question the other, and try to get somebody to throw the other under the bus. But I look at that Two of Cups, and I don't feel they have this divine relationship in their mind. So, and then it's a bigger thing than just even their relationship, because they've got this strange religious thing about them. So they're not going to throw each other under the bus. And that's one of the things. The defense is up. The defense is up. They're going to keep it going on. They're definitely going to keep it going on. Couldn't afford bail, so that's a good thing. The charges will come out most likely next month. Now, see, this is one of the reasons I kind of feel it, is that they felt that the actual doomsday thing would happen in July, but I get this weird kind of slap that Spirit's going to do, that they're going to get charged in July. So in that sense, the end of the world, they were right, but the end of the world is for them, not everybody else. It's really their own end of the world. But yeah, they're not going to be able to afford bail. There's going to be a whole lot more charges coming on. They're not going to be able to get out. They're not going to let them out, because there's no way they would flee. They know that. And notice the Eight of Cups, he looks like he's about to go on a journey. They know that would happen. So they're going to set bail very high. I have a feeling it may even increase once they hit some charges on them. Or they may even go no bail now that the children have been found, their remains. So walking out of there is just not going to happen. Many are mourning the loss right now. It's very sad. This is the outcome that we didn't want to happen. I even sat there and like, I hope they were shipped off to a cult. When I tried to read it, I was getting mixed signals that and I feel what was interfering with me is that I didn't want to believe that this would happen, that this would be some weird religious thing and these poor kids were caught in the crossfire. But unfortunately, that is the case, because they're both very mentally ill and they feed each other psychosis. So now we're mourning the loss. But even the Five of Cups is the mourning of a loss, but there is an upside to it. And there is still an upside, in the sense that, okay, they've been found. Now we can get the ball going. And the case was really going slow without finding them. It almost seemed like we'd never find them. And I bet a lot of people were almost about to give up hope, people that have followed this case. We always hoped, that they would be found. At this point, God, just find them and answer our question. But now the case has picked up momentum now that the bodies have been found. And that's the swiftness of the Eight of Wands, the foundation. Now everything is going to start happening real fast. But of course, they want to really develop a case. Like I said, they would love to try to turn Lori and Chad against each other, to maybe have them hang themselves. But I have a feel, when I tune in, that they have both practiced each other's story. And they're not that stupid. These people are not dumb. That's what you need to understand, in the sense that they knew this could potentially happen. And they've talked to each other. If we get arrested, this, that, you say this, I say that. We hold each other's story. This, that. They've done plenty of that. They've done plenty of that preparation. They're about, they're like a spider spinning a web. Let's see how sticky we can make this web. Let's spin this story, with all the people, his wife, her ex-husband, all these people passing, then the brother and everything. Let's see how sticky we can make this web. So they lock horns and come up with their ideas. So getting them to turn on each other or trip up their stories, they would need a very solid interrogator to be able to get them to do that. I don't feel they'll be able to do that. But ultimately, where does it lead? I actually want to draw another card for that too. The Hierophant, a lot of times when I'm reading a court case, that's normally a pretty solid prosecutor, that very good knowledge of the law and so forth. I feel they're going to give it their all. They're really going to give it their all. But as you know, anytime there's a high profile case, that's going to bring on some real good lawyers. And, sometimes they're going to take the case, even if they can't necessarily be afforded, because, they know if they win that case, they're going to have all kinds of people coming to them, that are going to want to hire them and everything. So, on that sense, I get the Wheel of Fortune on their side. It is on their side that they're going to have some good attorneys that are going to make it very difficult. Because one of the things is, was it both of them? Who did the killing? Okay, they're at the home, but can they piece together the whole evidence and story? Who did what? And that's going to be the challenging thing, because there's such a mystery going on with this. And I actually feel, when I've tuned into Lori, I've always felt she doesn't like to get her hands dirty. Okay, because think about it, with the axe, she wanted the axe out of the way, but she had the brother do it. So with the kids, I don't feel she got her hands dirty. So I'm leading more on knowing that and so forth. And I'm kind of feeling that, she had him do it, is what happened, is kind of my feeling on this. I don't feel that it was necessarily her getting her hands dirty, because that's the kind of way, she's a god, remember that, and everything. So she could get people to do her will. But the outcome is a challenge. This is a challenge. I do feel the attorney will be successful, because I do get the Chariot. So there will be charges pressed. But, and I hate to say it, I end also with justice reversed. When I normally see justice reversed, there is justice, but not exactly what we hope for. So if people are hoping they're going to get the death penalty, most likely not going to happen. As far as doing life without parole, I'm a little concerned seeing justice reversed, because if it was nice and upright, then I'd be like, you know what, they're really going to hang for this. But I have a feeling they may get, it might be like second degree murder or something kind of weird like that. I do feel this too. And this is what the attorneys are going to play into it, most likely, especially looking at that Nine of Swords. And this may be part of the thing, is that they may try to do some kind of temporary insanity type thing, or say, with both of them, that there's like some kind of mental illness. It will be a hard sell though, but I have a feeling some mental issues may get thrown up there, because that's one of the things. They must be crazy, right? We all know they are crazy. So I have a feeling that may be thrown in there, looking at the Nine of Swords card. That is a possibility there. Would they get off, with mental illness? No, I don't believe that's going to happen. Hence, justice still shows whether it's reversed or not. But it could get they may get lowered down to second degree versus first degree and things like that. But there is still a lot other things are going to come out with the other deaths and so forth. But with good attorneys, one of the things I'm a little concerned with, because I do note I just drew the Judgment Reverse card. Now, one of the things is they exhumed a body. And if most people are familiar with the Judgment card in tarot, it looks like the dead are rising. So I have a feeling with Judgment being reversed, and they exhumed a body. Okay, that's one of the things, is that might not, the attorneys for them, may throw in there that, we can't bring it into this case. They may be able to block some of these things, because some of these attorneys that are going to be coming in here are going, that they're already getting, and there may be some others that step in later, but they've got some good attorneys. So what they're going to do on their end is these various other deaths. They don't want them brought into this case. They don't want any knowledge to go to the jury about that. And of course, a lot of people watch the news, but still. So looking at that, I have a feeling, and that's especially with Chad's bite being exhumed, I have a feeling they're going to throw that out, and they're not even going to have that be allowed in this case with the children. So yeah, it's really, I hate to see justice reverse. So I have a feeling we're not going to be 100% pleased with everything that comes out, but they might even try. I don't know if they can do it on Chad, but I have a feeling with Lori, the lawyers may talk to her. Let's go for a mental, the insane, temporarily insane, or some kind of insanity defense. Looking at the Nine of Swords, that is a possibility. We could see that happen and then that transpire. I don't feel they can do it with him as much though, but with her, there is documented evidence, even from the ex-husband, that he was, telling people, yeah, and I think he was even telling court when trying to get custody of the kids. Yeah, she really believes she's God, and so it's documented. So, it'll be interesting. So I don't feel it's going to turn out exactly as we would hope. Though looking at Justice Reverse, I have a feeling it's not going to be exactly as we wish. But they will do time. They pushed it. They pushed it. They kept doing all these things. But I really feel justified, especially in her mind. She justifies all her actions, that it's all part of a divine plan. And I really feel she thought that she could get away with all this.